Alex, you downloaded it. Did you get it from Pixabay?
Hello and welcome to Game Club Pod. I'm your host, Tim, at Wembembo on everything. And as always, on our main episodes, I'm joined by my brother, Joey.
Hello.
And I'm also joined by Alex.
Hi, diddly ho, Neverino.
Hello. We're going to be talking about Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. But before we get into the episode, as always, a little question to get the creative juices flowing. Guys, what's the coolest robot in a video game?
Ooh.
Near Automata, all of the robots.
They are pretty cool and very existential.
That was good.
Oh, dude, it's outstanding. Super
really good.
Isn't it an anime game?
No.
Yeah, it's sort of.
And you liked it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Claptrap was the coolest.
I will boot you from the recording if this continues. I mean, for me,
GLaDOS was pretty good.
Not cool though.
Kind of cool.
Good, but not cool.
Kind of cool.
Can I tell you the coolest for a reason other than aesthetic or function? What was the robot in Fallout 4?
Liberty Prime?
No. The one that Codsworth. Because that was the first time in a video game, really, where you input any name and it'd be like, hello there, Cocksucker95. I'm glad you survived the apocalypse.
Not quite the first time. There is a game, I can't remember the name of it exactly, but it's from like Windows Vista, maybe Windows 2000 or something. But it would take a look at the user and the name of the user on the like on the PC that had the game installed and who was playing it, and every now and again it would just whisper that name, just on the wind.
Just to mess
That's
with you.
not creepy.
It's terrifying.
That wasn't Bonsai Buddy, was it?
No, that wasn't Bonzi, but the most famous chimp-based virus.
But Codsworth doing it was like revolutionary for a lot of people. It was mind-blowing. It was like when Tim and I, when we grew up, we went to Universal Studios. Alex, I don't know if you've ever been.
No.
And when we went on the ET ride, you give them your name at the start, and at the end, ET thanks you by name. And that was like, whoa, ET knows who I am, man.
It was very good.
All the marijuana helped, to be honest.
Yeah, big time. Right, let's have a look here.
Tim, did you say your favourite robot?
I got a couple. The robot from Titanfall 2, I forget his name.
Yeah.
I think. Really
Titan
cool.
fell over, yeah.
Titan Fellow, that's him.
Yep.
Robo Kai, because he just oozes personality from Guilty Gear. Who else?
Isn't there a bed in Guilty Gear that you can fight as?
Yeah, it's got the soul of a child trapped in it.
It's cooler than a robot.
You haven't seen this robot. He's very cool. Who else? What
was the game where you were piloting mechs and fighting bugs that were invading Earth?
Oh, it's Earth Defense Force.
Yes, there were some quite cool ones in that.
There were some cool ones in that, and of course, Mecha Godzilla from Godzilla Destroy All Monsters.
What about Omega from the Sonic series?
Nah.
What about Claptrap?
Nah.
No.
I was going to say Clank, but I've never played a Ratchet and Clank.
I thought that the other day, but then I realised there is a Ratchet and Clank game on Steam in our family library.
Is it really?
There is, yeah.
Is it the new one, or?
I think so, yeah.
Interesting.
Very
Myself that
interesting.
runs on the deck.
I mean,
anyway,
you do have a PS5, so you could just,
Yeah.
Bastion from Overwatch, because there's never been a more universally hated mech.
That's true.
Scopos.
Oh, yeah.
From Rainbow Six Siege.
To be clear, the robot's Scopos pilot's not the person in the wheelchair.
I mean, you can be cooler in a wheelchair, Tim. Let's not discriminate.
You cannot. What my point is, she's not a robot.
I thought your point was that if you have any kind of disability, you're not cool.
That aside,
I know that's how you feel, but
right.
I actually think that Scopos is completely useless as a operator. So
she's neat.
No, she's so useless.
She's neat at best. Okay. But we're here to talk about Armored Core 6: Fires of Rubicon, developed by From Software and published by From Software in Japan and Bandai Namco for everywhere else. Released on August 25th. 2023 for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Windows via Steam, Xbox One, and Xbox Series S and X. FromSoft, naturally known for their boss fights and big bombastic set pieces, they've got a few notches in their belt when it comes to awards and recognitions. Just to quickly whiz through these. The Game Awards, it won Best Action Game of 2023. At the Japan Game Awards in 2024, it won the award for Excellence. The Golden Joystick Awards in 2023, it was nominated for Game of the Year, Best Storytelling, and PlayStation Game of the Year. The DICE Awards in 2024, it was nominated for Action Game of the Year. And the New York Game Awards, it was nominated for the Big Apple Award for Game of the Year. So it's got a few. It's been around and it's been recognized. But I'm curious to get immediate thoughts with Alex before we go into plot.
Oh no, it was fine.
Fine.
It was fine. It wasn't anything to write home about. One of my gripes with it was they're so fast. They move so quickly through the terrain, and it feels like if you're piloting this big, because these mechs that you're piloting in this game are the size of like 2-story buildings. They're massive things by scale. You would expect them to move quite relatively slow and heavy, but they just zip around like they're on speed or something, and it kind of stopped feeling like you were piloting a mech, and it was more like, all right, I'm just a guy with 4 guns. But I mean, what it set out to do, it was an action game, and it did that. It had guns and explosions and unnecessarily difficult boss fights from the opening of the gate. Every time I saw the word Rubicon, I just thought of the drink, which might have took me out of it a bit. I think, for me, I think I made the problem of going into this wanting something that felt like Titanfall. And it's not Titanfall. It's not Titanfall at all. Titanfall is heavy. The movement is very slow, and this is just, you zip around all over the place. But, I got 6 hours. I got to the end of chapter 3. It's where you fight the biblically accurate angel mech.
You're going to need to be more specific. I don't think you realize how little that narrows it down for this game.
It's an airship, and it's got like a couple of archers over it. And it fires a lot. It fires a lot of missiles at you.
Yeah, Bastilius. He is. He's a wall for the early game.
So I beat him, and I was like, do you know what? I've felt everything I need to feel in this game. I can make a judgment on it.
Good. Yeah, I mean, that's generally the point that, like,
it's fine.
It's generally the point where people either, click or fall off with it. About then. Right. Joey, your thoughts?
I found out whether I clicked or fell off of this game much sooner than that boss fight, because I didn't get there in the 6 hours I played. I really struggled with this game. I think From Software is one of the best development studios going. They make tight, fun, fast and slow-paced games with really well-thought-out enemy placements, well-designed enemies for the level of the point in the game that you're at, and the bosses do the same thing and they ramp up in difficulty. Armored Core, I just could not get. For the first 2 hours, I played through on controller, and going through the settings endlessly to try and stop it telling me how to play the game on mouse and keyboard despite me using controller, got to the point where it was so annoying I just thought, forget it, I'm just going to play on mouse and keyboard. So I started again. So despite playing mouse and keyboard, never touching the keyboard whilst I was in the game, all of my prompts were mouse and keyboard entries to how to play the game.
That's really weird.
Rubbed me up the wrong way.
Sure.
And I went into this and didn't get very far on my first attempt. I got to the first kind of boss. I think it was a tutorial boss. It was the helicopter.
Yeah.
And I was sort of on that for 45 minutes, and I died over and over again. And I thought, I'm just going to start again because I think I've missed something in playing controller rather than mouse and keyboard. So I started again, and then I got to that boss. And then I continued to have my ass handed to me over and over and over and over again. I've never had a tutorial boss feel so difficult than this one, in that I would watch its health bar and think I'm really close to killing it. One more melee strike and it'll be dead. I've got 3/4 of my health left. No need to heal now. And then one shot would take out my entire health bar. And I just thought, like, this isn't teaching me how to play the game. The Asylum Demon teaches you how to play the game. It teaches you how to move. It teaches you to use your boss arena because you don't have to fight it the first time. It teaches you that there's multiple ways to attack a boss, in that you can drop from above and take out half its health. It teaches you that the item placement is really key in these games because you can kill it the first time with the black fire bombs. What I learned from the helicopter is I hate 3D movement in this game. The vertical movement made me feel a little bit sick at times. I was nowhere near as fast as the enemies. Sorry, the bosses. I'll get onto the other enemies in a minute. I was nowhere near as fast as the bosses. My firepower was minimal compared to the bosses. And the narrator going, well, you need a license. You should really do a test to get a license. Oh, well, now that you've beaten this boss, you can change the cosmetics on the left side of your arm for 12,000 credits. And I thought, fuck this. I'm not going to bother with the cosmetics because I already know I don't like this game. I got to Baltius, the boss I think it's the end of chapter 1, and it took me 6 hours. And I've completed every single Soulsborne game apart from Elden Ring. But I've got to the last boss in Elden Ring. So I know how these boss fights go, and I know how FromSoft designs a boss. But something in my smooth brain could just not handle the vertical movement of this. The cover made no sense to me. The speed of the game, like Alex said, was like breakneck all the time, to the point where when I wasn't in boss fights and I was trying to do objectives, I just overshoot them every single time. And then you find that the other enemies that you come across regular, I mean, I say the other enemies, every single enemy in this game is a robot. I find that really boring. They're all robots. They're all like mech Gundam things. It didn't strike me as a lot of imagination, although the boss that Alex you got to, it sounds like, is very different. But the standard enemies were so easy to beat. Like, I'm sure I sneezed near one of them one time and they exploded. And then you get to these bosses and I'm spending like 2 hours trying to beat a tutorial boss. I feel like that, you know, that game reviewer who tried to do the tutorial for movement on Cuphead and could not get it. That's how I felt playing this game. I felt so old in a game and a genre that and I say genre being like action RPG, that I really like, but this passed me so heavily. Like, it went so far over my head, it might as well have been a mech flying over me at 500 miles an hour. I did not get it.
Okay. All right.
Tim, how did you find it?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. It's like, I'm sure the audience know who regularly listen to this. I like dumb humor. And so when I got past the helicopter tutorial boss, which did also take me about 45 minutes to do, because Joey's right, there's a little bit of an imbalance between the regular enemies and the bosses and yourself. In that the regular enemies, yeah, you know, you can just kind of look at them funny and they'll fall over. And then it just feels like you're going to turn around to a boss fight and just get curb stomped for an hour.
The difficulty curve is a roller coaster.
Yeah. That being said, beating the bosses in this game is stupid gratifying. Now, I played this as a mixture on the Steam Deck and on my PC. And I found that the Steam Deck was good for testing out builds, like going into the artillery, and checking out like different treads and different weapons and different boosters and different engines and different heads, arms, legs, whatever the case may be, because all of that affects your stats, like your mobility and your energy consumption, your ammo count, how many hits of armor you've got, what kind of shields you've got, because you can also have like shoulder mounted shields that you can deploy at any time. You've got shoulder mounted missiles you can deploy at any time. Are your weapons going to be bullets or plasma or energy or fire or just explosives? There's a slew of options. And they give you a lot to start with, but it only just seems to grow and grow and grow, to the point you can basically do anything you like with your mech. So, of course, I made Eva 1 from Evangelion at first, and when I realized that my funny cosplay robot wasn't really cutting it for a lot of the time, I started looking into, okay, what do I actually need to do to beat the game on the proper front? Now, I didn't finish Armored Core. I, too, got past Baltius, one of the two. And I found that with this game, I don't know if you guys found this, the levels feel relatively empty in and of themselves. There are enemies dotted around, there's objectives to do. And to me, that felt like almost a bit of a warm-up and a testing ground for the build that you have just gotten. Because right before the boss door, because there's always a boss door in a cutscene, there is a computer or a terminal that you can access to completely redo your build of your mech. It'll completely restock your ammo, it'll completely replenish your health and your shields, and you can just completely change your mech as if though you were at the start of the level. And to me, it felt like that run up to that terminal was more of a testing ground for you to go, okay, I don't like this about my robot, but I do like this about my robot, so I'm going to try and lean into this sort of thing and see what builds work. Because for the bosses, there are certain weaknesses and strengths that they have. So some will be particularly weak to plasma or explosions. Some don't like you being at range because they don't have the best range, etc. It's there as a really, really open approach, and I personally really enjoyed it. I felt like, certainly on my ultralight, that it was actually a really immersive experience when you're piloting this mech going 500 miles an hour against another mech that wants to kill you going 500 miles an hour. I thought it was really gratifying.
I didn't feel like I ever got that kind of experience of going up against another mech going 500 miles an hour, because what I was doing was flying from one, seeing where a bullet landed, going to where the bullet came from, exploding that quite easily, and then rinse and repeat until I got to the boss fight, where I was flying at 500 miles an hour and they were exploding me at 500 miles an hour. It was, yeah.
The spectacle of some of the boss fights, though, is insane in this.
I don't know that I saw enough of them, to be honest with you. Alex will definitely be able to speak to that more than me.
Yeah.
It was very Michael Bay. It was just explosions. The biblically accurate angel boss was certainly a spectacle because he fired the missiles out in these really nice arcing patterns, and then he had a flamethrower and stuff like that, and he exploded with electrical plasma energy. But the other bosses up to that were just a bit, and I didn't find beating any of the bosses, because by that point you've gone through about 4-5 bosses. I didn't find any of it gratifying. I found it mostly sort of the relief after you've done something that's been irritating as shit for the last hour.
You told me you thought it was all right before, Alex. You didn't sound like you feel it now.
It was all right, and I think it's the same problem I have with Souls-like games in general. I'm just not good at them. I don't have the reaction speed for it or the pattern recognition for it, and I'm just bad at them.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to quickly whiz through the synopsis here just to, kind of touch on the story. Spoilers at this point for certainly the first few hours of Armored Core 6 Rise of Rubicon. The story is set on the remote planet of Rubicon 3, where humanity has discovered a volatile but highly advanced cosmic energy source called the Coral, not to be confused with the ones who do Dreaming of You. Decades prior to the game's events, this substance triggered a catastrophic event known as the Fire of Ibis, which engulfed the planet and its surrounding star systems in permanent flames. So, when the coral unexpectedly resurfaces itself half a century later, interstellar megacorporations and local resistance groups like the Rubicon Liberation Front plunge to the lockdown planet in a brutal war of control for the resource. Players step into the cockpit as the augmented human C4621, which the game's narrator, commander, just regularly calls you 621, who is piloting a heavily modified mech, and I say heavily modified because you can do whatever you want to it, under the call sign Raven, and he's being guided by his commander, Walter. Infiltrating Rubicon 3 as a independent mercenary, taking contracts from competing factions to try and sabotage the other factions, 621 eventually forms a mental connection with Aya, a wave mutation being born from the coral itself. As the conflict escalates, the player is forced to choose between the competing factions, ultimately deciding whether or not to burn the coral away to protect the universe or forge a symbiotic future with it.
There you go.
There you go.
Question.
You can tell it's FromSoft, can't you?
Oh yeah. If the end result is set yourself on fire and let the world burn with you, or sit in the dark and wait for the age to continue, it's a FromSoft game.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So the planet and the planet and the star system that it sits in were engulfed in endless fire by the coral explosion.
Correct.
Meltdown, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
There was a surprising amount of snow for a planet that's constantly on fire.
That was the extinguisher. Big fire
and a surprising
extinguisher.
lack of fire. Even in the desert level, things weren't on fire.
The desert level was my favorite.
You would expect that a desert level with that kind of heat would be covered in glass.
It was just a small fire. It's only little.
Yeah, that made the entire star system non-inhabitable.
Yeah.
They looked at it, and when they were trying to work out what to do, Alex, because of all the flames, they thought, oh, what can I do? I still need you, but I don't want you
now. That's the Rubicon Liberation Front looking at the piles of coral.
Exactly.
So, what did you guys do with your mechs? What did you guys go with?
You're not going to like my answer.
Is it the standard?
I did nothing.
Okay, so what weapons did you have? Because I was tweaking my mech every 20 minutes.
A machine gun and a multi-fire rocket thing.
Did you have the sword?
Oh, and the sword.
And the sword. Did you have the shield?
No.
Did you have legs?
Don't remember. Did I
You'll
use?
have
I
had
was
legs.
always flying, so I didn't know if I was. Yeah, I mean, but I could be on the ground, so.
Oh yeah,
I wasn't
so
like a slug mech.
No, okay. The reason I asked is because I ran a I ran slug legs. No, because I was doing the bonus missions, I accumulated enough money to have a few options available to me if I needed to swap. One of which was a bipedal mech, the other one was a quadrupedal mech, and then I also had a tank mech, which was my favorite because it meant that you weren't blown back every time you fired the grenade or rocket launcher. You could just keep moving forward into your own explosion.
Fun.
Yeah. Alex, what about you?
I had the early levels equivalent of a railgun, and then I had a 3-burst assault rifle, and then I had 2 sets of pincer missiles on my shoulders.
It's good stuff. All out offense then for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff, good stuff. Any highlights for you guys? I know you guys have been somewhat negative on the game, but I'm just looking for any glimmer of hope from you two, really, before we touch on scores.
When you catapult into the tutorial level, it feels like there's a massive sense of scale. I really felt at that moment that I had a whole planet to play with, and I really liked that. I did, however, feel... Have you guys ever played Metal Gear Solid 5?
No.
That had a fairly similar world system in that there is a massive world, but you're allowed to access parts of it at a time. And I feel like at the speed that you're at, going in that catapult, I thought, wow, I'm going to be able to cover so much ground so quickly. and then you don't really. Like, it feels quite empty, as you said, Tim, but I also think it feels quite small, even though I think if you mapped it out, it's probably a massive area each level, but you're so quick it
feels like nothing.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Tim. I realised that you said, "Have you got any highlights?" And I'm shitting on the game, but I feel like that initial catapult was a spectacle.
Okay, cool. Alex, what about you?
I think the bosses were varied enough to each other that it did make you think about how to handle them, which is obviously a staple of FromSoft, because a FromSoft game with bad bosses would be not a FromSoft game.
Sorry, Alex, you said they're varied enough. When you said there's a biblically accurate angel mech, Tim said you're going to have to give me more than that. Which one?
Well, from what I witnessed, because I mean, to give you a quick idea, Joey, of the bosses that I managed to get through. So there was the helicopter, which was followed by a giant, like walker, like a city-sized walker, where you have to fight the core of it and stuff like that.
That thing was really fucking cool.
And then there was a ninja mech. And then there was an invisible guy that was an absolute shithead to kill. And then there was the biblically accurate angel. So they were quite varied. And there was was it the Bastion that was on top of the gate? Was that his name? He was a big armored tank that rammed you, like charged at you at ramming speed all the time, and the only way you could get him was to attack the back of him. Yeah, but he turned on a fucking dime, that thing.
Not too dissimilar from the giant Octorok from Ocarina of Time.
Is that where you thought that comparison was going, Alex?
No.
You know, the one with the anus exposed.
But so the boss fights were varied, and it did force you to try different builds, because, like I said, my primary weapon was a charge rifle, like a railgun, and that did not work against the ninja thing because it would move too quickly. So I had to, when I lost, when you lose and you restart a checkpoint with the boss, as Tim said, you can change your weapons, you can change your build out. So I had to change it to have quicker, like the assault rifle, the machine gun, not rockets, because it would just dodge them and things like that. So,
fair enough.
Yeah, so I mean, the boss fights were good. It's just everything that led up to them was a bit sort of empty and easy. I did like the variants you can have with your mech, the amount of changes you can make. I mean, like Tim said, you can have one that's a tank. That was fun, with just messing around with parts.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you, Tim?
I mean, it's the customization. Like, the thing I really like about a lot of FromSoft games is how there's seemingly a million ways to approach a problem, and this is no different. It's you know, and if I were to draw a comparison to something like Dark Souls, you could be a sorcerer or a pyromancer or a greatsword user or a mage or whatever you want to do. I realize I've listed off a lot of magic options there, I know. But the point is, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can just spec into and options to take for weaponry and defense and all that good stuff. This is no different. It's just got a big robot skin on it. You know, you've got a myriad of guns, be that handguns or assault rifles or launchers or whatever. You can take swords, you can take shields, you can take wheels, you can take deals. There's a whole bunch of stuff for you to do. And an endless number of heads and arms and legs and feet. And, you know, you can get a fucking haircut if you like. I don't know. If it affects your stats, it's probably in the game. More of that, please.
I wish I'd explored it more. But by the time I got to that, I was already like, I don't want to play this.
Good. All right. Well, should we get to scores?
Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to start off with our usual remit of, what is it? Gameplay, story, and audio and video.
Well done.
Yeah.
Good. Right, let's talk gameplay first. I want to start with Joey and rip the Band-Aid off.
Gameplay was fine. It's not for me. The verticality of it throws me off. I don't like mech games. I don't like, did you say Earth Defense Force was the one? Can't stand those games. Don't like Gundam. Don't like this. I think I'm going to give it a 5 because it clearly controls well. There is a loop. The bosses are bosses. I think if I got it, I would feel differently, but 5 out of 10 for me.
Fantastic. Right, Alex, you.
Me?
You.
Yeah, I mean, the gunplay was fine. The movement was okay. I think its saving grace was definitely the boss fights. I think everything leading up to it was a bit in terms of gameplay, but it was okay. It's probably about a 6.5 for me.
6.5. Okay. For me, I'm going to go with an 8. I thought, again, just to harp on about it, the endless customization options really allowed you to approach any problem in a number of ways. Granted, there are ways for each scenario that are definitely more optimal than others, but there was nothing stopping you from taking a suboptimal option and still having fun with it if you were good enough. I thought the gameplay was fast, it was fun, it felt immersive, and I'm going to touch on it in my audio-visual bit, but the onboard computer talking to you as you're depleting your ammo and your health, and you've got your backup reserves, and it's telling you about your fuel, super immersive. It felt like I was really piloting a mech. I've given it, like I said, I'm going to go with an 8.
Nice.
Right, let's talk story. I'm going to go to Alex this time first.
It was.
Can I have numbers, please, and not sounds?
Yeah, it's a 5. It was every shooter game or every action shooting game that's ever existed of you are a dispensable soldier, go to this place, kill these people, kill this thing, get that thing, rinse and repeat. There was nothing particularly, from what I played of it anyway, there was nothing particularly outstanding. Like, yes, the story of the Coral had created this area of inhospitable environment that you couldn't go to, and now suddenly everyone wants to go there. Yeah, it's fairly interesting, but I'm sure you could find the exact same story in something like Warhammer. None of it was particularly. I wasn't engaged in the story. I was just going, right, how many things can I shoot? Right, cool, move on. And when Walter and Six and all the other NPCs were talking, it was just kind of going over me a bit.
All right. Joey.
I think so. I got some of the story based on the cutscenes. I didn't think I really got it in true FromSoft fashion until you explained it. I actually think the story was okay. It's not my favorite story. I always feel, and I know I'm kind of really beating this horse within an inch of its mushy carcass because it's already dead. Mechs are my least favorite thing in the world because RPGs are meant to have personality, and I don't feel like mechs do have personalities because they're not people. They're not living. They're just a computer. But the story's interesting. I like the Coral stuff. I like that there's a moral choice, as you explain. That's good. I might look into more of the story to try and understand it. Maybe that'll spur a bit more interest in it. But I think in games like this, when you're down and your hands are tied, you can't reach for a pen to draw the line. From the pain you just can't disguise, it's going to hurt, but you're going to have to say goodbye. That's more of the Coral dreaming of you for you.
Yeah.
I gave it a 7 out of 10 for story.
Solid. For me, I am going to go with a 7.5 for the story. It's fun in that it feels like it takes itself seriously, but in a really tongue-in-cheek way. Like I think it knows it's kind of dumb, but that's what I like.
in a mech game where you are given the ability to fly at 1,000,000 miles an hour and to turn the sky into fire, do you really care that much about the story?
Well, obviously, there's enough people that clearly do because they've made 5 previous games, and Armored Core 7 is almost definitely on the way.
Goody.
But I like this to me was really reminiscent of something like Ace Combat 7 and the amount of bullshit they pulled in the story there. And I really wanted like some like really over dramatic faction betrayal, like to the point it was like theater. Like that's what I want. And I feel like I got the start of that. And obviously I haven't got to the end of the game, so I don't know if I'm going to get that to the degree that I want it to, but it feels like it's going that way. And I've really enjoyed what I took in so far.
Fair. That's
nice.
Absolutely fair.
And then lastly, audiovisual, I'm going to start with Joey.
Now, I have spoken about how much enjoyment I got from this game and how much I love mechs and how I will definitely be rushing back to play this and how none of that's true. However, what I can't deny is this game looks and sounds really good. I know that the worlds are a bit empty, as we said. It's not going to be perfect points. It's no Claire Obscure. But you know, that moment where you see the scale of what you're going into, the sounds of your gunfire, the sounds of the bosses, the computer, the onboard computer, it all meshes together for a really good audio and visual package. So I give it an 8 out of 10.
Solid. Alex?
I mean, pretty much everything that Joey said, barring the environments, which were just a lot of greys, whites, or browns. The bosses looked cool. The heads-up display was really well designed for what you're doing. Everything sounded good. You kind of got to a point where you knew what was shooting at you, whether it was going to be an explosive or a standard round or an energy round, because they had distinct sounds. I don't remember there being much in the way of music, but no.
There's music. I don't know if it's at the forefront of things, though. Not in the same way that like it is other FromSoft games.
But it's also fully voice acted as well. A lot of the time in these kind of action games, you would expect that maybe the occasional cutscene might be voice acted, but then the rest is just subtitles. But this went full hog on it. I think the ability to change your mech into any color you wanted, and like you said, build mechs from franchises that you know, was a nice touch. They could have just had different shades of gunmetal grey, but they went, here, if you want a bright pink mech, you crack on. I think I made mine bright pink with green highlights. It was obnoxious to look at. But yeah, I think an 8's about right.
Yeah. Okay. If anyone is interested in, by the way, what Alex was saying about building mechs from any franchise that you like, go check out the Armored Core Builds subreddit. It's basically just people recreating famous robots and then taking them into battle. It's pretty fantastic. For me, audiovisual, I think this game's gorgeous. I think it's like so stunningly detailed, certainly in its mech design and the stuff that you experience. I think the sense of scale is pretty fantastic. I think that its audio design is outstanding. Music is probably the only point where I could look to really fault this to an extent, because I don't remember a damn thing about the music. And normally FromSoft, they knock it out the park with music. Not that I regularly listen to the Bloodborne or Dark Souls soundtracks, but I can at least recognize music. Like I can listen to a song from them and go, that's Ludwig, or that's the Farron Keep, or whatever, or the Abyss Watchers, or sorry, I should say. I've gone with an 8 out of 10 on this. It's good. It's really bloody good. Could it be better? Yeah, probably, but it's still really good.
Probably.
Probably. Right. What does that bring your guys' score to?
6.666666.
How spooky.
7.
Yeah. Alex, what about you?
6.5000001.
Ooh.
It's a very specific gaming score today.
It is. We're new this year on Game Club Pod. We're going to the 20th decimal point. Mine was 7.833333333333.
Can you feel that, Alex? Like all around you? All that padding in this episode that we're doing.
Hey, we made it to 40 minutes.
That meets the quota. Right. We're not announcing what we're doing next week, or next time rather, because we don't do that on Mainline. But join us for next week's. Oh no, it's not us next week. It's the guys over at BAP with their episode on power suits.
Did they know we were doing Armoured Core? Went fuck it, power suits.
They might have done. But then Alex, you've got a thanks. I hate it. I think.
Cool. Do I?
I think so.
Sure, why not?
Yay.
Cool. All right. See you guys in about, from us 2 weeks' time, but join BAP next week for Power Suits. Talk to you in a bit. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. God bless. Bye.
Wow.
My thanks I hate it was last week, Tim.